Today I would like to talk about the final Parker pen in my collection. That's the third Parker, and that's the only one I have not done a review of yet. So today we are going to talk about the Parker 75 Godron. For some reason I always pronounce it as Godron. It is part of the Place Vendôme series, so I take it Godron should be pronounced in the French way. But I guess I'll just say Godron because it's easier to pronounce in a fluid English sentence. So this is a vintage pen, or a vintage-ish pen. I was okay. Let me tell you how I got by this. This is an heirloom. So I have a specific, special relationship with this pen. I'm not really into vintage pens, so I'm not an expert. I try to look up some information about this so that I could give you the rundown, but perhaps I will make a mistake in that. And if you're an expert and you want to correct me, then please just do so. That's fine. I will tell you what I like about this pen. There are some really specific and interesting points about this pen that make it fairly unique, and I will also cover briefly the ballpoint pen pendant that came with it. This pen was part of a set. So the Parker Godron 75. I was unable to find the year in which this one was manufactured. As you may or may not know, Parker tends to indicate letters, put letters on the pen somewhere, and you can use that to find the year and the quarter of the year in which the pen was manufactured. I didn't know that. Someone recently pointed it out to me. And the fountain pen, there are no letters of that kind on the pen. However, they are on the ballpoint pen, but unfortunately they do not really help me that much, because it says IE, which could mean, I looked it up, it could mean either 1974 or 1984. One or the other. And I have to tell you, it doesn't really matter an awful lot to me. But it may to you, and if it does, then you have to look it up yourself. I'm not sure. So what makes this pen special? Apart from the specific connection I have, as I said, it's an heirloom, but this is an entirely gold-plated pen. So the entire body is gold-plated, and it has some interesting features to indicate that it is really gold. I will go through the pen, then I will point out some specific details. So one thing I really like is the overall design. It's very well balanced. It has these nice, pretty deep grooves, which gives it the grooves give it a very nice look. I think a very classical look, and I really like that. It has a nice little shiny end cap on the cap, and the same thing at the lower end of the barrel of the pen. There are some, as I said, deep grooves there, and then on these caps, you can probably just barely see that in my weird webcam. There are, let's say, horizontal grooves all over the pen, and then vertical grooves along the cap, of course the other way around if you hold it like this. In any case, I like that contrast of the grooves moving in two directions. The clip of the pen is the standard Parker arrow, which I think looks nice on this pen. It's again, there's some grooves in there too, so now we have vertical, horizontal, and diagonal grooves. So if you love grooves, this is your pen. Then this ring around the cap, it is on the cap, it's not in the pen, as you can see here. It says a couple of things, and it's actually fairly interesting. Of course, it has the Parker logo, and it says Parker. I could show you, but my webcam is not going to pick that up, so just believe me. Then there is another Parker logo that says PP, Parker Pens. I take it with this arrow thing that's on there, but upside down. Then it says 20 mu, as in 20 micron. A micron is 1/1000th of a millimeter, so 0.001 millimeters. And that is the thickness of the gold plating, which I thought was fairly interesting. It says made in France, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so we have the cap, we have the barrel. The cap is a type of friction fit thing. It doesn't screw on, you just pull it and it opens. oh, it comes off, I mean, the pen opens, and that's actually fairly tight. I was surprised, because whether it's 1974, 84, clearly it's an older pen, not that antique, but still it's an older pen, and this mechanism still works very well, so that's really nice. Now we have the grip section, and for those of you who always complain about completely, featureless, textureless grip sections, you've entered heaven with this pen, because as you can see there, this is really textured, and it's triangular. So there's one of these groovy textures on that side. If I turn it around, you see another one right there. And then finally, there is a smooth facet going on there. So if you hold it, then your index finger and thumb cover the textured grip sections, and the smooth grip section is covered by your middle finger, making it very pleasant to hold. It's fairly thin, it's not an extremely big pen, but it's really comfortable to hold. And there's some interesting stuff going on with the nib. First of all, the nib has some interesting details which I'm sure you cannot see, so let me just tell you what's on there. It says Parker, it has a breather hole, as you can see, it says France, and it has an interesting gold logo, which I'm not sure you can see that. I can't imagine you can pick that up. You know what? I'll upload some high-resolution pictures at the end of the video of the nib, then you can see for yourself. Also, it says 585, in other words 14 karat gold, and it says M for medium. Now, one of the interesting features of this pen, at first I thought it was just, well, worn down, but in fact it's not. This is really a feature that was meant to be that way. On this ring, which is again gold plated, there used to be, but these are gone, there used to be angle marks. Why was that? Well, apparently the person who designed it thought it would be interesting if you could adjust the nib to your hand. So what you can do is you hold it. Now I am going to take a cloth here. There we go. You hold the nib, and then you can adjust it. So I turn it, and as you can see, the nib moves. My hand is stationary, but the nib moves. So you can... screw it, I'm gonna get ink on my fingers anyway. You can really adjust it to the way you enjoy writing with it and the way you like to hold it. Now that is something, I'm not a big expert on this type of vintage pen, but that's something I've never seen. So I thought it was just worn down, as I said. I thought this was just loose, and it loosened and maybe lost some of the glue keeping it together or whatever. But it was really meant to be used that way. So that's pretty amazing, I think. Okay, well then we have the barrel. I already told you about that. Nice deep grooves, but not much more to tell about that, I think. In there is currently a cartridge. I prefer converters, but I tried to use a standard Parker converter in this, and it fit sort of, but it was in there pretty loosely, and I thought I don't want to run the risk of unscrewing this and finding out that the converter flew out and it's ink all over the place. So I just used this with cartridges. I think this came with one of those aromatic SAC converters, but I'm not sure whether the person who owned this pen before me actually had that. Maybe, as far as I know, he always used cartridges, so maybe that's the way this pen was bought. I'm not sure. So there you have it, a 14 karat gold pen. Not just the nib, but the entire pen, 14 karat gold. Very interesting. I don't know what material is under the gold. I really don't know, but a gold plated pen. I think it's very interesting. Now, you probably understand that if this pen was worth just $2, then I would still, love it. As I said, it's an heirloom, so it holds some specific memories of the person who owned it before me. And I think that's one of the interesting things about fountain pens. I mean, imagine, let me see, imagine inheriting something like this. It's a nice pen, but yeah, whatever. A fountain pen is different. This is something that will be with you for your life. This will be with me for my life. You know, the entirety of my life I will have this pen. And although I don't even write with it that much, whenever I do, it brings back memories in a good way. And I think that is one of the major strengths of fountain pens. Generally speaking, they are durable. You can use them, you can reuse them, you can fill them up with all kinds of different inks, you can take them with you wherever you go. And as a result, they become a part of you. And you know, if you ever give them to someone else, then those people have a part of you. That is what that's the gift you give them. So I think that's a very interesting thing. Okay, now the ballpoint pen is a very similar design. There's still these grooves. There's the smooth end here. There is another smooth ring there, which says Parker, has the Parker logo twice and has France on there, as well as IE, as I said, 1974 or 1984. So that's interesting. It has the clip, and well, the rest of it is pretty much the same type of design. Again, you have the grooves here. So, nice pens. I like them a lot. I will show you how they write next, and then I will upload some stills, some high resolution shots of both pens, so that you can, you know, get an idea of what they really look like close up. And that's it. So I'll see you soon. Okay, writing with the Parker Godron 75. Don't mind the ink blots, that were not created with this pen. So, the Godron, that's just, well, actually I never post this pen, so I'll keep it as it is. The writing is still smooth, as you can see here. You may hear some scratching sounds. That's generally speaking just the microphone of this camera. As I said, if you don't really like the way the nib is oriented, you can turn it around a little bit. Yeah, that's a little better for my hand. You see it lays down quite a bit of ink in a very consistent manner, which I always like. When it comes to line variation, well, there definitely is some, as you can see there. When you write quickly, I'm not trying to be legible, just trying to be quick. As you can see, the feed can keep up really well with that, so that's really nice. And well, that's pretty much it. Then the ballpoint version of this pen, just a regular click type pen. The Quick Brown Fox, etc. It's just a ballpoint pen. There isn't no line variation or anything. So that's pretty much it for this pen, as far as I'm concerned. So I would say thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.